What is going on, Crimson Tide fans? Appreciate you guys joining us here for another edition of the Alabama Football Report by Chat Sports. Coming up on today's show, Pro Football Focus ended up dropping both position rankings, and they also listed their top 3 players at each position. Alabama had a couple of guys, and they were very, very high on the position group rankings as well, all the way across the board. Also, Brett McMurphy, now with On3, has actually put out his bowl predictions. So we're going to go through those bowl predictions and really the college football playoffs and see where he has Alabama and how far he has Alabama going in this year's college football playoffs. So if you guys want Alabama to make the college football playoffs, which should be pretty much every single person watching today's video, we're going to have a couple thousand people watch this video. That means there should be a couple thousand likes on today's video. So if you guys want the Crimson Tide to make the college football playoffs, help me out by liking today's video, please and thank you. All right, first up, we're going to be talking about the Pro Football Focus, both position group rankings, and like I said, they also ranked the top 3 players in each position group as well. And when you're just going across the board, Alabama didn't rank in the top 10. I believe that's just what they had, the top 10 at each position group. But 6 different position groups, they ranked in the top 10. This is how PFF had it here. At that quarterback spot, they had Alabama number 9 in the country. Obviously, there's a lot of question marks with, is it going to be Ty Simpson? Is it going to be Austin Mack? But when you look at just what Alabama has, they've got 2 5-stars in the room. Austin Mack, he's a guy that reclassified, but he was still a 4-star quarterback in that recruiting class with Kalen DeBoer at Washington. So number 9, not going to scoff at that, especially when you have really nobody proven there. Honestly, I'm surprised it's that high, to be honest with you. Wide receiver, they've got him at number 5. Could be higher than that, but top 5 in the country is not bad either. Offensive line, they have Alabama as the number 1 offensive line in the country. When you look at what Alabama has coming back, you have Kadyn Proctor. There's going to be, a question mark there at left guard. You have Parker Brailsford, who could be a top 2 center in all of college football. Jaden Roberts, if he can stay healthy, he's going to be really good as well. Wilkin Formby, there's a little bit of a question mark there, but I think he's done a really good job in the offseason. The defensive line, the number 2 defensive line in the country. Linebacker, number 8. And then that defensive back room, they have them at the number 2 defensive backfield in the country. In my opinion, very easily could be number 1 there. But just overall, across the board, Alabama's roster this year is really, really stacked. They've got a lot of players coming back, and man, I really do think this team has a very, very good opportunity of making a run in this year's college football playoffs. So let me know here at the pinned comment of today's video. Grade Alabama's current roster, A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know what you guys think. You can be totally honest if you think it's a B or a C, whatever. Probably don't think it's going to be that, but it should really, in my opinion, be a B or an A. But let me know what you guys think down at the pinned comment of today's video. All right, let's go through and let's break down now some of these top players at each position group. Pro Football Focus, the wide receiver rankings that they have right now. They've got Jeremiah Smith out of Ohio State as the number 1 wide receiver in the country. And then Ryan Williams is number 2. And then Jordyn Tyson from Arizona State at number 3. In my opinion, it is just extremely impressive that you got 2 guys, Jeremiah Smith and Ryan Williams, both going into their sophomore seasons as 2 of the best wide receivers in the country. Neither guy can even go off to the NFL draft this year. And if you put that into perspective, we actually did a mock draft here. I believe it was ESPN's Matt Miller's mock draft. Put that video out on our draft channel and on our main channel as well. He had Jordyn Tyson going in the first round of this coming year's NFL draft. So that's extremely impressive. And then Ryan Williams as well. Technically, he should be going into his freshman season here at Alabama, but obviously we know the crazy story, reclassified, committed, decommitted, committed back to Kalen DeBoer. Kalen DeBoer's first 5-star, by the way, as well. So that is just very, very impressive that 2 of the top wide receivers in the country here are both going into their sophomore seasons. And I'll be honest, I haven't watched Jordyn Tyson one bit, but, when you just look at the production, I'm a little bit surprised that they had Ryan Williams ahead of him. But, to be fair, we all know about the inconsistencies that Alabama had last year in terms of the quarterback getting the ball to their playmakers. So, I'm not going to go too far into that. But We've talked about it a lot here, but Ryan Williams, the number 2 wide receiver in the country according to Pro Football Focus. Let's go over to the offensive tackle rankings here as well. You have Spencer Fano out of Utah, and then Francis Mauigoa, I believe is how you pronounce his name. I'm never going to get that right, to be completely honest with you guys, at number 2 there out of Miami. And then Kadyn Proctor at number 3 there in the country. And I think if you look at Kadyn Proctor, his growth here at Alabama, we know the whole story about him playing his first year. It was kind of rough over there at that left tackle spot, and then ends up hitting the transfer portal when Nick Saban retires, goes to Iowa, misses his friends, hangs out with Wilkin Formby and the rest of the offensive line on spring break. And then before the season even starts, ends up coming back to Alabama. And this past season, I thought Kadyn Proctor made massive, massive strides at that left tackle spot. Kind of unfortunate that, he missed either the first game or the first 2 games, 3 games, something like that of the season with that shoulder injury. But after that, man, he got really, really good. And he played less snaps last year as well. But when you're talking about that sack number going from 12 to 3, the hit number went up a little bit, but the hurries went way, way down as well. He lost a little bit of weight as well going into last season. I think that helped him out a ton when in terms of his athleticism, not getting over the balls of his feet, not letting those, defensive ends / edge rushers, get into his body. He did a really, really good job of that last year. And, he's being projected right now to go in the first round of next year's NFL draft as well. So, going into this year, kind of the same thing as last year that I was saying about Jaden Roberts. Thought last year Jaden Roberts, if he was healthy, would have had an opportunity to play himself into the first couple rounds in the NFL draft. I think Kadyn Proctor this year, as long as he just continues to get better and better and better like he did from year 1 to year 2, Kadyn Proctor has a real good chance to make it into the first round of next year's NFL draft. So let me know what you guys think here in the comments section. Do you guys think Kadyn Proctor will be a round 1 NFL draft pick? Type Y for yes or N for no down in the comments section. All right, we'll continue on here in just a second with some defensive line rankings here. But first, want to give a shout out to our friends over at Fanatics. You guys can get what I am calling the Kalen DeBoer hat here for a really, really good deal. It was $25, now only down to $8. Might as well get it, right? If you need a new Alabama hat, it's a really, really good one that you guys can get there. It's the same exact one that Kalen DeBoer wears on the sidelines for pretty much every single game. Chatsports.com/DeBoer hat is where you can find that deal. I'll put that link down in the comment section and the description of today's video. All right, Pro Football Focus also listed the interior defensive line rankings and had Tim Keenan there at number 3, which honestly, this is another one that I'm kind of surprised by. I thought Tim Keenan was great. I'm totally on the Tim Keenan bandwagon here, but I am surprised that they had him in the top 3 there. Peter Woods, another guy, they've got him at number 1. There was, I think it was 2022 or 2023 recruiting class when Peter Woods came through. Really thought he was going to be at Alabama, but ends up going to Clemson late there in the process. Tim Keenan last year, though, man, he was pretty damn good. When you think about the fact that he was also, learning a new defensive system, and let's just be completely honest with ourselves, he probably doesn't fit this defensive system, as perfect as maybe Kane Womack would like him to. I think he's a little bit bigger on the interior there than Kane Womack would normally have there at the interior spot, that nose tackle spot. But man, when you talk about being a run plugger, that's what Tim Keenan does. Also, does a decent job in the pass rush as well. Had 13 pressures last year. But when you look at those stops, had 22 stops last year. That's basically means, basically at the line of scrimmage or maybe 1 yard downfield. Basically, no big plays there for runs up the middle there. I think Tim Keenan is just going to go into this season and has a really, really good opportunity of boosting his draft stock compared to last year. Our next goal here on the channel is 26,000 subscribers. We're only 269 away. That's a very nice number, but I would love to get it down. Help me out. Make sure you guys stay up to date on all things Alabama football news. Got a couple more commitments coming up this weekend on July 4th. Nolan Wilson will be committing, and then after that, 5-star safety Jaira Edwards will also be committing. And if Alabama gets those commitments, we'll have a short out for you guys. So make sure you do not miss out. Hit that sub button for me. youtube.com/@RollTideTV. All right, Brett McMurphy. I believe it was his first article as well here with On3. I could be wrong on that, but it was like the first day that he was officially with On3. Actually dropped his college football playoff predictions and bowl predictions as well. We're just going to look at the playoffs here because I really hope Alabama ends up making the college football playoffs. And in this first round, Brett McMurphy did have Alabama making it into at least the first round of the college football playoffs here. Alabama versus Miami. And what a crazy game that would be. You know, you got Isaiah Horton from Miami, so kind of going against his old team there. He's got Texas beating Boise State, Oregon beating LSU, Clemson beating Utah, and then he's got Alabama beating Miami in the first round of the college football playoffs. We move on here to the quarterfinals. He has Ohio State beating Texas, Notre Dame beating Oregon, and then he's got Penn State beating Alabama and then Georgia beating Clemson as well. When it comes to that Alabama versus Penn State game, I'm just like, Penn State's a good program. Don't get me wrong. And I'm not trying to talk a lot of crap about Penn State, but they have shown time and time and time again that when they're playing these big-time teams in big-time moments, they never end up getting the win. So until any of those things happen, I understand they've got a quarterback coming back. They've got a lot of players coming back as well. Really, I think the biggest difference between Alabama and Penn State is Penn State has their quarterback coming back. Alabama's got a new quarterback. But when it comes to the rest of the roster, both of those teams have a lot of players coming back. So could be a very, very fun game. But at the end of the day, I do disagree with him having Penn State beating Alabama there in the quarterfinals. Let's go ahead and round it out here. The last two rounds, he's got Ohio State beating Notre Dame in the semifinals, and then he has Georgia end up beating Penn State there in the semifinals as well. And then the national championship game, he has the Georgia Bulldogs beating Ohio State, who ends up going to the national championship in back-to-back years, but he does have Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs winning the national championship this season. So let me know one more time here down in the comments section, how far do you guys think Alabama will make it this season? Will they make the college football playoffs? Will they make it to the first round, second round, semifinals? Will they win the national championship? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments of today's video.